You're tuned in to the hottest live stream on Thursday night. It's Random Topic Thursdays with your boy, Gavin Richard, aka Gboot2786, here on my channel, Gboot2786. Welcome to Gavin Richard Presents. Wherever you are, wherever you are, I hope you are blessed and doing safe. We're going to get started in a little bit. We have the brothers on. The brothers going to work it out. King Bernard Johnson and Shawn James that are on the platform. We'll get started in a little bit. But y'all let the music play for a second and I'll be right back. Oh, I love the way that beat drops. All right, we are live. We are live, and I'm coming at you with 5. Welcome again to Channel Gboot2786. We got on Shawn James and we got on King Bernard Johnson. Of course, brother Bernard Johnson. You know him from his channel, King BJ Johnson. You guys support this brother. You know him also as a guest on the Judge Joe Brown show. What's going on, Bernard?
Nothing much, man. I just sent you an invite to my website that shout out to Valerie Denise Jones for the website a couple of days ago for finishing up, and sent you an invite to it. KingBJmedia.com. It's in your.
Make sure to put it in the computer.
How you doing, Shawn?
Comment section.
I'm all right. How are you, Bernard?
Put it in the comment section, Bernard, so that way I can post it for everybody to go to. All right. And let me give a shout out to, of course, you guys, gentlemen. You guys know the gentleman at the top of the screen. He is the author of over 75 books, including the John Haynes series, and actually John Haynes' latest adaptation to the John Haynes series debuts, I believe, tomorrow.
I believe it's on Saturday. John Haynes, Taking Care of Business, will be available in paperback and Kindle format on Saturday, and everybody can pick up a copy on Saturday.
All right. Y'all give it up for the one and only Shawn James. Shawn, how you doing?
I'm good, Gavin. How are you?
I am doing fine, my brother. I'm doing good. Thank you for tuning in, joining as always. It's always a pleasure to see you, talk with you guys, to support y'all. I always have this tag up because you buy Eternal Night, but we want to push the John Haynes series, the latest John Haynes series that's going to be available on Kindle. You guys can check that out on Amazon.
Yeah, and it's also available in paperback. So I will put a link to that in the chat for everybody.
All right. I will definitely. We're gonna blow that one up. All right. Do y'all want the lighter news or you want the heavier news first? I think I'll go with the.
It don't matter.
It's my show, so I'll go with the. Well, let me do this first and foremost. Let me put up the link to the John Haynes Taking Care of Business book that you're going to be able to buy on Amazon. Let me post that in the comment section in the chat so everybody could see it. You could support Shawn there. And I'm going to get into it, obviously. Now, of course, this past Monday, we had the anniversary of the death of Latasha Harlins. Now, those who may not know, especially those that were born after 1991, 1992, there was a case involving Latasha Harlins was a little black girl that was killed in Los Angeles, in a Los Angeles liquor store when she was buying orange juice. This happened on March 6th.
You hear? Shawn.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, but I can't hear him though.
Yeah, his connection. Something happened to his connection.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I had to make sure. I thought I was okay, so that means I know it's not me. Yeah, but anyway, how you doing, Shawn?
I'm all right. I'm doing good.
Everything going okay in New York?
Oh, everything's all going as good as it can be here in New York.
The Cuomo situation I see is catching more heat.
Yeah, he just doesn't want to give up. So he's going to make it bad for the party. And the party doesn't understand that this is just going to do damage to them
All
in
right, I'm back.
2022.
Sorry about that, guys.
All right.
Yep.
I have some computer trouble. Yeah, Cuomo is in trouble. I heard y'all talking about him. But he's refusing to step down on that one. I guess we can talk about him a little later, but
Yeah.
I want to talk about
So,
Latasha
Gavin,
Harlins. Now, those that don't know, okay, this is Latasha Harlins. This is a picture of her. And sorry about that. In 1991, March 16th, 1991, she was actually born on New Year's, January 1st, 1976. She was 15 years old. She walked into a convenience store owned by Soon Jadu, and she was buying some orange juice, and apparently grabbing the orange juice. The woman thought she was stealing. They got into a tussle. She threw the money on the counter, took the orange juice, and walked off. And from the point where Soon Jadu shot her point blank in the back of her head, killing her instantly. And when that happened, now this was $1.79 bottle of orange juice that she had in her backpack. And she thought she was trying to steal it. This was on a Saturday. But Harlins had stated, she was actually purchasing the orange juice. Either way, she was not in fear of her life. Latasha had already turned her back and was walking off when she got shot in the back of her head. I don't know if the video is there. I don't really want to play it, but it's there for you guys to look at on YouTube. Nevertheless, what happened in this case, Dude testified on her own behalf. She claimed that she believed her life was in danger and shot in self-defense. And what's interesting though, however, her testimony was contradicted by two witnesses as well as the convenience store footage, which showed shooting Harris in the back of her head as she walked away and attempted to leave the store. So, and the police concluded that Harlins intended to pay for the beverage, by the way, with the money in her hand. So they said that the handgun was altered in such a way that it required much less pressure on a trigger to fire than an ordinary gun. In other words, it was basically what they call uh, what's that term, Bernard? Hair inch on a trigger.
It's a hair trigger.
Hair trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A hair trigger. And a jury found her guilty. They found her guilty of voluntary manslaughter, and that offense carries 16 years. Now, of course, It could have been murder. A lot of people believed it was murder, but this is what happened. But manslaughter, 16 years. Some justice better than no justice, I guess. That's what they say. But the trial judge, Joyce Carlin, sentenced Dew to 5 years probation and suspended 10 years of the prison sentence. She was forced to do 400 hours of community service and a $500 fine. Carlin suggested that there were mitigating circumstances in Harlan's death. She stated that, did Mrs. Dew react inappropriately? Absolutely. But was the reaction understandable? I think it was. Carlin further reiterated that this is not a time for revenge, and no matter what sentence this court imposes, Mrs. Dew will be punished for every day for the rest of her life. The court also stated that Dew shot Harlins under extreme provocation and duress, and deemed it unlikely that Dew would ever commit a serious crime again. I wish black people get that when they're sentenced, this type of discretion. Furthermore, Carlin deemed that Dew's capacity to act rationally in the situation was undermined by her experience with past robberies. The California Court of Appeal upheld Carlin's decision, and that decision, which was a unanimous decision 3-0, would happen on April 21st, 1992, which was a week before the LA riots. And Harlan's family was awarded $300 in settlement. By the way, Carlin, I believe, got reelected. She did not step down, even though there were calls for her to do so. As of 1997, she retired from her position as judge and was later elected to the Manhattan Beach, California City Council. And in 2002, she served as a rotation as mayor per the system used for Manhattan Beach. Now, what I want to say and get to that, I'm tying this into what's going on now in Atlanta. And we're going to talk about that in a minute with Robert Long, who is accused of murdering and shooting up these Asian spas. One of the spas in Atlanta was actually called Young Asian Massage, if you saw that. But 30 years later, and I find it convenient that it happened on the 30th anniversary. Bernard, you found it convenient. So I'm going to let Bernard, you take the lead on this one. And Shawn, I'd like to get your opinion.
Well, thank you, Gavin, for that. Well, it was mighty funny the other day when I was sitting around and I heard this. I said, "Now this got to be the ultimate psyop," because I was thinking about Latasha Harlins early in the day, 30 years to the day, 3/16, 3/16, same time. I mean, same time, but same day,
Yeah.
30 years later. So a lot of people probably don't know it, but also. And I want to say this is where the media is such a disgrace. And that's why I'm glad that Gavin and Shawn, y'all put videos up and y'all make sense of bring things to date. Because this had historical precedent. The only thing now is flipped on the other foot and they're saying re-attacking them. It's not the Asian attacking us this time. It's re-attacking them. So when we have Young Jeezy's wife, who he's in Georgia. I done been to a concert with him before. You have Lonnie Love and all these people, saying that it's us attacking them. Yeah. Well, it's us attacking them and all this other foolishness is going to the narrative. What they've been talking about for the last 2 months. Anti-Asian hate. I just watched a little thing earlier today before I went to the dentist, and they had a 3-hour floor show in the House of Representatives with Sheila Jackson Lee.
Yeah.
And she's saying, talking about need to do some anti-Asian discrimination. But then I think it was a Republican from Texas, Chip Roy. He said that we condemn all this, but what about what happened last summer in the streets? So all this other stuff going on. We shouldn't just go out on a limb for one extremist. And then there was the problem with the media. The media told you what? That this was anti-Asian hate. What the guy said? He said it was because of sexual addiction and what goes on at the Asian shops. Now, to me, this got a lot of precedent, 2 precedents, and I'm going to bring it to the NFL. One, Roger Kraft, a couple years ago, went to an Asian, well, yeah. He went to a spa and was getting sexual favors at a spa. They buried the story. That happened a couple years ago. Now we got 3 women, and I don't know if we get a 4th one tomorrow, but Deshaun Watson, the Houston Texans, saying that he came to a massage parlor and he was doing what they call sexual acts or trying to engage in sexual activity.
We're going to get to a little bit later.
But yeah, but I'm just saying it's mighty funny that this guy is saying that he attacked them because of what goes on in massage parlors, and it wasn't just all Asians. It was 2 white people got shot too. So, and then Keisha Lance Bottom says she doesn't know about these massage parlors having illegal activity. Now, come on, man. You can have a legal business, do legal activity out of it. I know guys down here in Richmond that used to have barber shops that on Monday they used to have strip shows in there. So what Keisha Lance Bottoms is saying is disingenuous, and everybody's just being disingenuous. Stop ramping up the fit show narrative. Just report the facts. That's all you got to do. But they're trying to use this to pass a law. Next week they're probably gonna be on talking about HR 1 psyop with Kamala Harris, who's really a East Asian or whatever, South Asian, whatever, Indian or whatever you want to call it, Chucks and Pearls girl or whatever. That happened. So you just another psyop, and they're trying to stop free speech, and I think they come with the Second Amendment next. Also, just tonight, they're also talking about a pathway to citizenship for illegal immigrants. So it's all fitting into the same narrative they've been doing. They're just trying to ramp it up a little bit.
Yeah,
that's all I gotta say.
Well, tying that into the Latasha Harlins thing, I found it a striking coincidence that it happened on that, to have it happen on that anniversary, because in truthfulness, Latasha Harlins' case was the actual catalyst for the LA riots. Rodney King was just the icing on the cake. That, as the late John Singleton said, was that you just said it when the jury came back and said that those officers were not guilty in the beating of Rodney King, that they set off the bomb. The bomb was already clicked. The timer on the bomb was actually set with this case. It was actually set to detonate. This actually just accelerated it. Like you've seen, I don't know if you remember the last Lethal Weapon movie, the third Lethal Weapon movie that they had, where Riggs and Murtaugh go into the parking garage to defuse the bomb, and Riggs cuts the wrong wire and the clock accelerates. Well, that's what happened with Rodney King. And this thing here, with Latasha, though, and that judge's decision, she should have been removed from the bench immediately. No, we tolerate so much that goes on. Now, I know that was I think that was still in Simi Valley, if I'm not mistaken, where that decision was made. And of course, Simi Valley was also where Rodney King took place, the trial there. But, I don't remember, now me personally, I don't remember Latasha Harlins' case offhand when this happened. But Shawn, you might be a little older than myself and Bernard. I hope you don't take offense to that. But
I don't take offense to that. I was in high school when Latasha Harlins was murdered, and I remember the anger and outrage people had back then when this case got that whole unjust sentence that they pushed through. They practically gave this Asian woman a pass for murdering this girl, and the country was really hot and heated. And again, like you said, it was the thing that accelerated the bomb that had been going on in Black communities, because it had been notorious that the LAPD had been terrorizing Black people all throughout the 70s and the 80s. And this powder keg was going on for a good 20 years. And this was the thing that just triggered everything as related to a lot of the anger going on. And then Rodney King, when I was about to graduate high school, it exploded everything. So I saw what happened with Latasha Harlins. And when I look at what's happening now with a lot of this so-called Asian violence, it's just that a lot of the Asian community reaping what it sows. And from what I've been hearing from not only Black people, but other Southeast Asian people, like Filipinos, who have been telling me that a lot of these Asians have been just downright nasty and disrespectful
Yeah.
to Black people. They've been disrespectful to Southeast Asian people like Filipinos and people from South Asian countries like Cambodia. And they've just been downright nasty and racist. And they've also been racist towards Africans. And they're sitting there trying to make themselves
Right.
out to be the victim. And what they're really trying to do is, as I'm going to say in an upcoming video, is they're trying to make the Black community into the scapegoat for their issues with white people. And what they want to do is they want to make us to be the boogeyman because they're too scared to confront white people. Because what most people don't know about Asians is a lot of Asians worship white people and they are very submissive to white supremacy. And they don't want to give up those benefits that they receive from white people because they are a favored minority with whites. And if they go out here and confront white people, what happens is that they fear that they're going to lose that favor with white people because in their culture, they're afraid of losing face. So they're afraid of losing that face with white people. But when we look at the news media and the reports where they're trying to gaslight us into thinking it's Black people, we can clearly see in the reports most of the perpetrators of this violence are whites. Most of these perpetrators are Hispanics. Most of them are Middle Easterners. And some of them are even just other Asian people. And they're pushing the narrative that it's Black people, but they're doing that, again, because they don't want to confront these white people about their racism. And because a lot of these white people, they're angry about the COVID-19 pandemic. A lot of them have the motive for most of this violence, but they want to make it look like the big Black boogeyman is the one attacking everyone because they're too scared to confront the white man, again, showing us how scared these racists truly are. And they don't want to also deal with the fact that they're actually, again, reaping what they sowed because a lot of them did a lot of dirt to Black people over the last 30 years. I mean, recently with the Kai Gurley, the screw job they did in that case, keeping this Peter Liang from being punished. And they don't want to understand that when you do dirt, you're going to get dirt back. And when you participate in white supremacy, eventually the white supremacist turns on you.
Yeah, and I think the other aspect of it too, especially when they try to make us the face of it. Tariq Nasheed was talking about this earlier, and I've said this. We're their economic base. Like Black people are the ones that patronize. If they're in our neighborhoods, we go patronize their laundromats, their uh, their cleaners, their grocery stores, their gas stations. And when I think of Asian American, I'm not just thinking of people from, the Southeast Asia. I'm also talking about the, people from Saudi Arabia and Pakistan. I'm lumping them in too, because even they exert racist tendencies towards Black people. Look at George Floyd having
Yeah.
it called on him at that Circle Cups food store up in Minneapolis. Like, there's no way, I've said this before, Black people should be patronizing or patronizing that place because after that incident, had it not been for that phone call, George Floyd would still be alive.
Yeah. The way I see it, if we had just pulled our money, a lot of these people would be out of business overnight. And if we
Yeah.
flexed our economic muscles, we could really do some serious damage to these people. But the sad part is we have so many Blacks who are still caught up in marching and protesting. They can't see that the real impact they can have is by just not spending your money with these people. I mean, if you don't spend your money with them, then they practically go out of business overnight.
Yeah, and I think, well, he Computer Robox asked you, I'll just put that up there. What do you think is white acceptance? More Blacks or Asians? That's for you. I can answer it. I think it's more Asians because remember, Asians, Hispanics, this is my opinion, they act as a buffer class over Blacks because Black Americans have always been at the bottom. We're the only group of people that did not immigrate to this country. Granted, I know about the foundational Black Americans before slavery that were here, but in terms of a class, Black Americans are descendant of slaves. Slaves did not have a choice to come freely over here. We're the only group that has that distinction. All these other groups came over here, as Dr. Claude Anderson states. They came here, these immigrant classes, and they got benefits, unearned benefits that they tried to qualify from Black Americans. Yeah, there were some people that, yes, they did face some discrimination. I don't deny that, but the laws that were enacted, the Jim Crow, the voting, voter suppression. When we talk about grandfather clauses, when we talk about even the earliest gun control laws in this country, they were designed to keep Black people down. And I think that these other groups act as buffers. I mean, look, I wear this Muhammad Ali, and this Muhammad Ali T-shirt for a reason tonight as well. When we talk about anti-Asian hate, this man gave up the world heavyweight title because he refused to go to Southeast Asia. He said it himself. Ain't no Viet Cong ever called me nigger. Though he could have waited a few years, they probably would have heard. He would have heard it because these people came over here. More of them came over here and started learning more and assimilating with white rule, with white authority.
Yep. And yeah, the Asians are the ones who wanted the white acceptance more than anything. I mean, they practically, a guy who's on Facebook with told me that they love white people, and they want to be assimilated in many ways. So they're the ones who really want that assimilation and acceptance more than anything. Yeah. Black people have always been at the bottom of the world in our society. They don't want us to compete. So what the whites do is they push them up as a buffer class. And they did that during the 70s, during the Vietnam War, after the Vietnam War. And that's how a lot of those Asians got economic power. And that's how they became that buffer class. And that's the thing that they're scared of losing, is that buffer status. And that's why they're going out here playing these psychological games where they're gaslighting people into believing, oh, Black people are the perpetrators of these crimes. But when you look at the video, again, of these so-called attacks, you don't see Black people doing most of these crimes. It's not Black people assaulting Asian people. If you look at the videos, it's mostly whites and non-Blacks, but they don't want to confront those white people because they're terrified of losing that buffer status.
By show of hands, who's been followed in the store?
Following what?
But no, who's been followed in the store? What? Followed, like followed around.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Where were you, Shawn?
Oh, I've been followed in stores ever since the 80s. So that's something I had learned how to deal with all the way back when I was 11, 12 years old. I mean, it's something that I practically learned how to grow up with and understand how to navigate. And, these store owners, not only these Asian stores, but these Hispanic store owners do the same things too. Everybody thinks that the Black man or the Black woman is going to steal from them based on these stereotypes that are created in the mainstream media. But what I've seen also in these stores is that when it comes to their own people, they can practically steal from them and they ain't got a word to say to them. I mean, I've seen Hispanics come into stores with baby carriages and shopping carts. And while they're looking at me in the store, following me around, the Hispanic person or the Asian person is walking out of the store with merchandise, and nobody tries to stop that person. And it just shows me, again, how deeply dysfunctional these racists are, that they practically will give a pass to their own people who steal from them. But a Black person who's coming in to spend money, they treat us with the least amount of respect whatsoever.
Right. Let me get into the next topic, just tying that in what we know about that was Latasha Harlins 30 years later. Now, of course, we got Robert Aaron Long, what happened in Atlanta. They're saying, and I saw the video of him. It's interesting that after he does this shooting, he just casually, like in no rush, if you saw that clip that he just goes to his car casually, it's not like he's in a rush or anything.
No, I haven't seen that video, but that's par for the course with these beta males, because these guys are delusional. And from what I've read about that Robert Aaron Long, he's a textbook beta male, like I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis. And he had a lot of issues as related to sex and sexuality. And a lot of people are trying to make it this, again, primarily about race. But this man, when I listened to his background, he had serious psychological issues that I've seen
The
many of
sheriff
what
was even trying to do that.
assault,
I'm
and
sorry,
then
the
here
police
in Fulton
the
County,
police chief was
also
even trying
4
to do that.
counts
The
of
white
murder. And that
police
is because,
officer
as you say, a total
Yeah.
of
at the
8
press
people died,
conference.
1 person injured across 3 spas. At the same time, CNN has spoken with former roommates of his who described
Yeah.
that he went to rehab for sexual addiction, that he was deeply religious and felt distraught and tortured by his sexual addiction.
Oh, it's his textbook beta.
Very good. Holly, do you have a description of him, ma'am? We need to hide him right now.
That quiet plea came from a woman hiding in one of 3 spas in the Atlanta area, where by the end of Tuesday night, 8 people were dead and 1 injured. The killing spree, in which most of the victims were Asian American women, happened in the span of just a few hours. The suspect told investigators he had no racial motivation, but that he targeted what he felt were temptations for his sexual addiction. Law enforcement sources told CNN 21-year-old Robert Aaron Long purchased the gun he used this week. One source said nothing in Long's background would have prevented the purchase.
Whether it's senseless violence we've seen play out in our streets, or more targeted violence like we saw on yesterday, a crime against any community is a crime against us all.
At 5 p.m. Tuesday night, Cherokee County deputies were called to Young's Asian Massage in Ackworth, Georgia, about 30 miles north of Atlanta. 4 people died at that location. About an hour later, Atlanta 911 dispatch received 2 calls from spas across the street from each other. Emergency calls where it took time, perhaps across language barriers, to comprehend what exactly was happening.
Is it a male or female? They have a gun, but it's like real gun. That's why. They have a gun, he said?
They found 3 Asian women killed at the Gold Spa. 10 minutes later, this call resulted in first responders finding 1 Asian woman dead there.
Some guy came in and shoot the gun, so everybody heard the gunshot, and some ladies got hurt, I think, and everybody's scared, so they hiding.
When police released these surveillance images of him, they said the family of 21-year-old Robert Aaron Long called authorities. Investigators then tracked him via cell phone. 150 miles south of Atlanta in Cripps County, state troopers intercepted him. Investigators believe he was headed to Florida to make similar attacks. Whether or not this is called a hate crime, the Asian American community says the fear is real.
I think there's an enormous amount of fear and anxiety, particularly in that this crime that was not necessarily committed based on race, at least based on what we know so far, but that it was 6 Asian American women who were shot and killed yesterday in light of the broader context where we've seen a spike in discrimination, hate, and violence against Asian Americans across this country.
It is tragic. Our country, the president and I and all of us, we grieve for the loss. Our prayers are extended to the families of those who have been killed.
They got to go to her.
And it could have been worse. Investigators believe that he was actually on his way to Florida to commit similar attacks. And it was actually the parents who saw the surveillance images of their son and contacted police. Now, one person also told authorities that those parents had recently kicked him out of their home and that he was very emotional. But it was those parents who called police to help identify him and helped police really stop him in his tracks, Wolf.
All right. So that was the 911 video, but let me I don't want to play any more of it.
Dana,
But
I'm so sorry. Words.
yeah, that's supposed. I think that's one of the victims in there. But I like, again, this happened on Monday around Latasha Harlins' anniversary, and then on top of that, I don't know if you guys know this too, but and they've been tweeting and talking about this, about Stop Asian Hate and linking Black Americans to it. Earlier today, the editor of Teen Vogue, or one of the employees of Teen Vogue, her name is Alexi McCammon. She departed Teen Vogue following controversy over past racist and homophobic remarks. And this is from 2011. So over 10 years ago, she's 27 years old. So she was 17 when she made this, when she made these comments. And supposedly it was a joke, some jokes she made, I think. I'm not exactly sure. But whatever uh, she said they decided that it was best to part ways and she stepped down from it. So went back into her Twitter page, her Twitter handle, and looked up comments she made on Asian features, derogatory stereotypes about Asians, and slurs for gay people. Now, she apologized for the tweets in 2019 and deleted them. However, screenshots of the tweets were recirculated on social media after her hiring at Teen Vogue was announced. Now, me personally, I don't really give a damn about Teen Vogue. Teen Vogue is the same. They had the same editor who said that told girls it was okay for them to lie about being raped and sexual assault as long as it made the stats look good. You remember that, Bernard?
Yeah, that was a while back. Yeah.
You remember? Yeah, Sean, I know you remember that.
Yeah.
So with all of this going on, something I've noticed is that we're not talking about what's happening even in George Floyd's case, because the settlement was reached last week, and then for $27 million, and then on top of that, we have. I said the 16th was a Tuesday, not a Monday. Excuse me. And on top of that, remember, even when you see the George Floyd incident and you look at the video, remember it was an Asian cop that was standing right over George Floyd and Derek Chauvin to keep watch and keep the public from approaching Derek Chauvin and interrupting with his quote unquote arrest. So, Sean, you were talking about Robert and the textbook beta male. If you could explain something a little bit more about that, and also about just the Stop the Asian Hate hashtag that's going on.
All right. Well, when I was reading and doing research on this Robert Aaron Long, he was fitting the pattern and profile for beta males that I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis, and what I read about Your Nice Guys and Dr. Robert Glover's No More Mr. Nice Guy. And when it comes down to these beta males, they oftentimes have issues with sex and sexuality. And the main issue they have is what they call sexual shame. So these men, when they go out here, they are ashamed of expressing themselves in a sexual fashion openly. So what they do is they go to what I call the secret world to express themselves sexually. So this beta male looks like he was out here going to frequent prostitutes, going to these massage parlors to get his sexual needs met. And that turned into this addiction that he was having. And the reason why he was addicted to sex was because he was doing it secretly. And as he was doing it secretly, he was participating in more and more sexually deviant behavior. And what was happening was he was losing control of it. He was trying to get more of a grip on things. But the whole thing with these guys, these beta males, is these guys, as they're caught up in their sexual addiction, they become more frustrated with themselves. And as they become frustrated with themselves, they start to lose control. And one of the things they try to do to get control that Dr. Glover talked about in his book, No More Mr. Nice Guy, and I talk about in The Man Crisis, is they try to erase their sexual indiscretions. And what this guy was what they usually do is that if they have stashes of porn, they'll get rid of the stashes of porn, and they'll throw the magazines and the videos away, or they'll delete the videos off their computer, and then they'll try to talk about they're going to start clean. And what this guy was doing was on the extreme end of that spectrum. He thought, oh, I'm having these sexual addictions and I can't control my urges, so I'm going to try to erase all of these things as related to sex. So he wanted to go to these massage parlors and erase and eliminate these women. And what he wanted to do was murder these women so that he would not feel tempted to participate in these sexual acts or these sexual urges. And he also wanted to go to Florida and continue to participate in these murders. And that's what happens in the beta male's mind. He's got this plan in his head that if he erases these things, it will make it stop. But the thing is that sexual urges are a natural part of a man, but these men have never been taught to work through their emotions and have some self-control. So that's one of the reasons why this man was motivated to go out on this killing spree. But what the mainstream media wants to do is turn it into an anti-Asian thing, but it had nothing to do with anti-Asian anything. This man was a male in crisis, and from the details of the report, they said that his parents kicked him out. And I believe that was the catalyst that led to this man exploding in the rage, because he was already sexually frustrated and he was simmering and boiling in anger about his lack of self-control as related to his sexual urges. And then he wound up exploding in this rage where he participated in this extreme violence. So this guy was a ticking time bomb for some time, and it was due to the way he was raised about and to learn about sex and his sexual issues. But they want to make it about race, but it has, as I see it, nothing to do with race. Yes, there were Asian women murdered in these massage parlors, but if these massage parlors were owned and operated by an Asian person, that's what it was going to happen, because those are the kind of women who work there. And this whole case, what they want to do is try to turn it into something that it's not, but it's really a part of America's ongoing man crisis. It's really another case of another one of these beta males, because we had a similar case in Canada back during the pandemic where a guy went to a massage parlor and went on a similar type of stabbing spree because he was sexually frustrated about not being able to get with women, and he wanted to punish those women inside of the massage parlor. So we've had a pattern of these incidents, but most of the people in the media, they want to turn this into a whole case of, oh, he's killing Asian women. No, he's not killing Asian women. This has to do with the man crisis here in this country, this bumper crop of beta males we have raised over the last 50 years. And these men, they usually, again, self-destruct, and they self-destruct in a pattern. And it's like, it seems like every time around springtime, because that's what I call season of the simp, what happens is a lot of these beta males start going berserk and participating in acts of violence, because it's like they get frustrated, they get angry, they want to go out here and get with women. And around springtime, summertime, they just go on rampages. And it seems like this fits right into that whole pattern of behavior.
All right, most definitely. What do you think of the Vogue Alexei McCammon, who got suspended from Vogue?
Well, that was another case of your cancel culture, because many of these people had no problem with this woman working for them for the last 10 years. I mean, it seems like somebody there wanted to go out here.
Well, no, she just joined in March, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but if she joined in March, and you should have checked her social media before that, but it looks like another case of cancel culture, because what these SJWs love to do is they love to dig up dirt on people. They love to go way back into people's tweets, and they love to call themselves smearing people. But what really is silly about the whole thing is that Anna Wintour is a known racist and a white supremacist. So you're sitting there, the boss of Vogue is known for being even more callous than this, and they're just canceling this woman because it looks good for the media image. But the whole culture of Vogue has always been, again, racist and white supremacist. It's a white supremacist magazine when you really look at it. So you're sitting there, it's really them being hypocrites, because they're sitting there going, oh, we got rid of one racist, but the whole culture of the magazine has been racist ever since it's been there. I mean, we've rarely gotten many black people on the cover, very rarely gotten black models. I mean, very rarely had black people working at Vogue. So when I look at this whole thing, it's just a farce meant to try to virtue signal, and it really means nothing, because the whole culture of the magazine is completely racist and white supremacist, and whatever it is, the whole thing is like that. So they're just empty symbolism to try to make it look like they're doing something, but the same culture's been going on there for years.
Bernard?
You know, man, the woman of Vogue, I mean, it is what it is, but like he's talking about cancel culture. I mean, Shawn, I like what you said about the simp and the beta male and all that, right? Because everything's becoming beta male. I mean, the Titanic, they want a thing with beta males on that, and then they want I mean, even the cancellation of Pepe Le Pew and all the cartoons. All this is beta male simp nonsense. when we get to a level like this, I mean, it's oh how the mighty have fallen. I mean, it's so bad that rapper Little Mama has got to say she's gonna start basically saying heterosexual lives matter. We shouldn't have to get to this type of stuff in society, but that's how we're going now. So, I mean, they need to just deal with the issue of the guy and just admit that it wasn't about Asian hate instead of drawing up the narrative making us the boogeyman. That's how I look at it. The woman Vogue, Shawn, you're right about her. Screw her. But they know who all these people are before they get on the network. They just get rid of you and then they just go underground and go on another site. They doing a podcast probably right now.
Bernard,
Yep.
think you froze.
Oh, you hear me? No.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
You hear what I said?
I didn't hear the
Yeah, I
last
just
thing.
said that they just go. Oh, I said that the woman on Vogue, everybody knew about her before she signed or whatever. Just, we get rid of you because it looks good. But in all honesty, I'm going to go underground. I'm going to just go ahead and get a satellite radio or she probably be doing a podcast right now. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, I don't think. Well, I mean, I think that they certainly screen these people before they actually join these big magazines and so forth, and they know what they're about. Like she said, that was made in 2011. She was 17. Look what they do with these guys. These guys that kill all of these people. Like I'm sure Robert Long, and they've already started to. They were talking about her. They were talking about his sexual uh, addictions and issues that he had. The damn police chief was trying to make an excuse for him about the problems he was going through. It was a bad day for him, all this other crap. And on top of that, what you had, they tried to make him feel good, make him feel sympathetic. And so they know, and they go back in these guys' backgrounds, knowing what they're all about. Like you say with the textbook beta male, Shawn, they know about all of this stuff, but they sanitize it for mainstream media. And they did it even with this woman. It's they only did that because it's a trending topic now to be on the side of stop Asian hatred. That's what's trending in America right now. That's the number one civil rights issue. Well, outside of LGBTQ, but all of that and feminism, that's all tied in together. And when you have a cartoon character get canceled, out of all the things that we could think of, Charles Blowhole decides that that's the number one thing he should talk about is a damn cartoon.
Yeah.
I wonder, the next cartoon. I mean, the next cartoon that I think they'll go after John. I know they're going after Johnny Bravo, but you know what? What's to stop them from going after Popeye? Let's go back from. Let's look at Popeye. He takes spinach. Well, that's almost like steroids. That's connected to anabolic steroids. We're teaching children how to use drugs. Let's cancel him. Like this.
You want to know something, Gavin?
Uh-huh.
You know what got me yesterday, Gavin?
What's that?
And I was telling a friend of mine the other day. I said, look, when this thing hit the other day, I said they are going to drive this home so much you're gonna get tired of it. I said it the other day. Within hours, Barack Obama, LeBron James, John Legend, Common, Stacey Abrams, everybody was saying stop anti-Asian hate. This is like, and these were mostly people doing this. And I'm like, okay, if you want to say that, fine. But you're not even talking about what's going on with black women, black men, black girls right now.
They can't.
I mean,
they can't do it because they know that Hollywood, they want that check. They want those checks to keep coming in from Hollywood. So when Hollywood tells you to do something, especially if you want to get a movie made, if you want to get on TV and so forth, you got to toe the line. So they hang that over their head. It's like what Tariq Nasheed was saying just a while on his broadcast. He said he can't stand Hollywood Negroes. He can't stand them
And
because
I
it's
can't
like
stand DL Hughley either.
they're robots. You said you can't stand DL.
I can't stand
Well, you
DL
know,
Hughley. I can't stand DL Hughley.
well, you know, interesting enough, my boy Dwan B was going at
Yeah, I
DL
saw it.
Hughley on Twitter, and he did a live stream on it. I DL Hughley is actually Facebook friends with me on, and you know, I lost a lot of, like, I respect him as a comedian, but I've lost a lot of respect for him as a man when he started going after Bill Cosby. I didn't think that was right. I was disappointed with him.
Yeah.
You know, what do you think, Sean, about that?
About what?
DL Hughley.
I'm not a big fan of his because he just throws people under the bus, and it seems like a classic textbook black bootleg. So I thought he had promise when I first saw him early in the 90s, but seeing how he's done Bill Cosby and how he's done many others, I'm not
I
a
mean,
fan
he
of
even
him.
went at Michael.
Yeah, he's just a
Yeah.
very, very egregious
Yeah.
human being.
But Dwan, look, Dwan is a fellow comedian. He really like he was going at it too. I mean, you know, it's just if it's one thing if that's how you feel, but you guys are just doing this to promote the Democratic Party. And
Yeah,
you know, it's interesting. I'm not surprised they're actually going down to Atlanta. Kamala Harris, Vice President Harris, and President Biden. And earlier today, Biden actually called Kamala Harris president. I don't know if you guys saw that. He caught himself.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
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 They're revealing the chess game that they're doing. They're just revealing their moves because they think they've got it made.
He's not going to be the president that much longer. She's going to take over. She's going to be the visible head.
Yeah, and it's going to be a complete mess.
Yeah.
Because she can't lead. She's
No.
just incompetent.
But they want a woman. That's all it is.
That's empty symbolism. It means it's like you have a woman, but she can't lead.
Yeah. All right. Well, next thing I want to talk about, guys, is what's going on in Houston. Of course, the Houston, Texas quarterback situation. We know Deshaun Watson, he wants out of the Texans. The former owner, Bob
Is his
McNair,
ticket
he
out?
actually just passed away. He just passed away, actually, I think, this past year. And what happened, of course, is that several lawsuits have been filed against uh, Deshaun Watson, alleged sexual misconduct, sexual assault. Uh, a lawyer, suits have been filed by a lawyer who apparently was a friend of Bob McNair. The lawyer's name was Tony Busby, said he had filed 3 of 6 lawsuits against Watson that accused the Texans quarterback of sexual assault, with the first 2 being filed on behalf of 2 different massage therapists. Watson publicly denied the first allegation on Tuesday, calling Busby a publicity-seeking plaintiff's lawyer, and claiming that, unlike Busby, this isn't about the money for me, it's about clearing my name, and I look forward to doing that. Busby is a former Marine and is a high-profile lawyer in Houston who has run for public office multiple times. Most recently, he ran for mayor of Houston in 2019, but he lost to Sylvester Turner, the incumbent, in a runoff in which he garnered 44% of the vote. He's been supported by Donald Trump. He does support Donald Trump, but and for his 2016 campaign, but he says that he was completely done with Trump after the Access Hollywood tape emerged. I doubt that. But says here, Busby was involved in trying to get Johnny Manziel to the Houston Texans. He was involved, he's actually close friends with the Houston Texans owner. I find it very interesting that they are bringing up these lawsuits, just like with Bill Cosby and with Cuba Gooding Jr. You're seeing them going for lawsuits. Even with Antonio Brown, it's the lawsuit, not the criminal investigation, that they go for first. And many people believe that this is an attempt by the Houston Texans and Busby to keep Deshaun Watson from leaving the Houston Texans. Bernard, you had mentioned this earlier, and apparently the complaint hadn't been released. Now, let's not forget, and I don't know what the NFL is going to do with Deshaun Watson. There's been no news of any disciplinary actions, but let's not forget Ben Roethlisberger, the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, was accused of multiple rapes back in 2004 and 2007, respectively. And if I'm not mistaken, he was suspended only for half of a season in 2007. That was coming off of his Super Bowl year that he won with the Steelers in 2000. No, I'm sorry, it was a year after. I apologize. It was before his 2008 Super Bowl. But I will let Bernard, you take the lead on this one, guys. This is Busby, Tony Busby, and that's Deshaun Watson. And
Well,
Watson flat out denying it.
look at it, just another Me
And
Too
he's
coming back, man.
Yeah. They were
Me
quiet
Too.
back in
Me Too coming
2020.
back.
They were quiet in 2020. I wonder why.
Well, they had a guy named Biden running, but they coming back in full force. Now, this is the thing. I'm just saying about the massage parlor thing. Look, man, like I said, these things happen. But I mean, if it is true, you're not saying he raped you. You're just looking for a payday. It's just like a return of the script, going for the lawsuit, saying this. So, in one of them, I think they say he pulled his penis out and said he wants some oral sex or something. I mean, I'm not gonna say that don't happen, but I'm gonna say that some women do it, some women don't. Okay, so I'm just trying to find out in the connection. And by the way, like I said, it fits the previous story we talked about of massage parlors, because you know this is what they say happens. So it is what it is. But I think Deshaun Watson, I'm not saying what he did or didn't, but I do find it interesting. I also think that it's just a continuation of Me Too. One thing about it, you got cancel culture, Me Too, and immigration, and anti-Asian hate. That's the buffet on the menu right now and what's going on today. So we might as well get used to it for 3.5 more years.
Well, I just think it's interesting at the timing of this all, because we're about to get to the NFL draft. The draft takes place next month in April. On top of that, he's trying to leave the Texans.
There's a ticket out.
I noticed in the complaint. I haven't read the complaint, but they don't name the individual who's accusing him. Of course, with sexual assault cases, they can claim anonymity.
Well, I find it interesting that this is coming just as the guy is about to ask for a trade. So there's some shades of Colin Kaepernick here without the identity politics of Colin Kaepernick, that this guy, all of a sudden, he's getting allegations when he's talking about a trade. And I find it, again, interesting that these women want to talk about lawsuits, but never want to talk about criminal charges. So this case really, it really smells when I think about it. Because if a man has sexually assaulted you, which is a violation of your body, you would think you would want to see this man punished through the criminal justice system first. So when I see people making these allegations with no police report and no efforts to try to get any sort of criminal investigation, I find their allegations to be suspect. And again, I find that some eerie coincidences here. He's asking to be traded or let out of his contract, and then all of a sudden these allegations come up out of nowhere. So there's a lot of red flags with these kind of allegations, because what a lot of women want to do now is talk about, I'm going to make an allegation and then try to get a fast payday. But what a lot of men needed to do in these cases is say, show me the police report, and so that they can have a legal defense. Because if there was a criminal act perpetrated, you're going to go for the police first. You're not going to go and ask for money. And that's what makes this all suspect. And again, it's really suspect when you consider what happened with Colin Kaepernick when he asked for a trade, and then all of a sudden we had everybody trying to demonize him, and now we have another quarterback who's being demonized as he's asking to be let out of a contract, and all of a sudden we got an allegation against him conveniently, and they're trying to make him into the new black brute of the month. And Me Too, they're trying to galvanize this comeback with black men, but it seems like every time they try to do this, it backfires because we still have this Andrew Cuomo thing going on. And as soon as another rich white guy comes along, they'll probably forget about this guy and then go back over to the white guys.
Yeah.
That's right.
Most definitely. Yeah. Again, I think it's convenient. When we talk about cancel culture, and I think this is the one thing that's as to why cancel culture will be defeated eventually, is that it's part of selective outrage, where where there's an aspect where you're going after one person. You have two people that may do the same thing, but we're going to go after one person because we want to feel good, but we tolerate with the others. Just like with the Biden scan, like when Biden was running for president against Trump, Me Too was nowhere. Me Too was nowhere. And so now, when the election is over, Biden gets elected. Now Deshaun Watson comes up. Andrew Cuomo comes up. Pepe Le Pew promotes rape culture. What's the other one? They got somebody else that's coming. I don't know who else is who has a sexual harassment claim against them, but they keep bringing all this stuff up. Let's rehash Woody Allen. Now I've been hearing about Woody Allen before when I was a kid back in the 90s, because even In Living Color made fun of him. But they all knew about that, and that was already investigated by the New York Police Department with regards to Dylan Farrow. But what's funny and how they stay on code, the white supremacists, is that HBO themselves said while they aired Farrow versus Allen, which is on HBO Max, they've also made it clear that they are not taking Woody Allen's library off the network either. So which one is it? And that's what's going to backfire with this whole meet. It already has backfired with it. I think a lot of people aren't taking it seriously. But now all of a sudden, when this stuff comes up, he's asking for a trade. When the other cases come up, like even with Andrew Cuomo, they want him to resign over the Me Too thing, but not over the debts in the nursing homes. And you're right, DJ B-Side. They're convenient guard dogs. They're attack dogs, yeah. And the lead one, KRS2, Tyrannosaurus Burt, that's a bed wench. I don't usually like using that term, but that is a Negro bed wench certified. And she's an agent. I believe she's an agent.
You think it's, I think that's the right term, brother.
Yeah, I think she's an agent. That's my personal belief. Shawn, I don't know about you.
Well, I believe she's a bed wench myself, and I believe she's a traitor and an agent. And she's the one who orchestrated all of this anti-black man misandry as related to this Me Too movement. And she was the one who started a lot of this stuff and continues to push it. She doesn't want anybody to do anything about white men, but white men are the ones who primarily are the ones who perpetrated many of these crimes. And she doesn't want to do anything about the white men, but she wants to go after the black men and the black men have no real economic power to do any of the stuff she's alleging. She doesn't want to go after these white men who have been proven time after time to have done this. I mean, guys like Stephen Collins, who confessed to this openly, Woody Allen, who has had allegations. She doesn't want to talk about stopping the sexual harassment and sexual assault that white men perpetrate, but she always wants to go after black men and make the black man the boogeyman. And that's what makes her a traitor to the race. She doesn't want to stop this sexual violence, but she wants to make black men the picture of sexual predation.
Right. Most definitely. She's yeah, you know, she's a bit. She has stated herself that that was her top priority. Her priority was not towards punishing white men. She said it's not my job to go after white men accused of sexual assault. So, which tells me if you're talking about Me Too, you're only interested in going after black men accused of something, and you do it even without proof.
Yeah. And
You
what
do
I
it
find to
without
be
proof.
interesting, and what I find to be interesting is she doesn't want to go after the black pastor, who is the primary, one of the biggest sexual predators in the black community, but she just wants to go after rich black male celebrities. And that just shows me again how disingenuous she is, because the black pastor has been terrorizing black women and sexually assaulting women for years. And he's been going after little kids and stuff, but she doesn't want to stop that sexual assault, but she wants to go after only these prominent black celebrities because it's all about her getting a payday and destroying the image and reputation of a prominent black man.
Yeah, and you know who else is getting it? The other celebrity is Arnie Hammer.
Yeah, I just
Yeah,
heard about that one.
yeah. The police in Los Angeles have said Hammer is being investigated right now for allegations of sexual, I guess, assault and domestic abuse. One of the women is represented by guess who?
Lori Allred.
Allred. Yeah. So I think, honestly, I think he didn't pissed off the wrong people in Hollywood. Armie Hammer is, of course, he's related to a baking soda family. You know that?
Yeah, but what's happening to him just proves my point about every time they try to make a black brute of the month by making allegation against the black man, they just shift it right back over to the white men. And that's always been the bane of the whole Me Too movement is the racists keep trying to make black men the picture of sexual predation, but because I forget what her name is, I think Megyn Kelly got that 20 million from Roger Ailes. And ever since then, the women got hypergamous, and all they're thinking about is getting those big paydays from these white celebrities and these movie studios. So every time they try to make black men the image of sexual predation, they always bring it back to the white man because they want to get paid.
Yeah. Well, that's what it comes down to. And Armand Hammer, yeah, that is his great grandfather. Armand Hammer, let me show you a picture of this guy. He was an oil tycoon. He all right, this is him. All right, that's Armie Hammer's great grandfather. He was closely associated with he was associated with Occidental Petroleum, a company he ran from 1957 until his death on December 10th, 1990. So he comes from wealthy money. And that's Armie Hammer. And he's got a Me Too allegation against him right now. He was actually dumped by his agency, WME. So you know it's bad when a white man gets dumped by his agency.
Yeah.
If the white man can't get the fair trial, we're toast.
Yeah.
White man can't get it, we're screwed.
Well, the feminists. This is what they were trying to do with, I think his name, the senator. I forget his name. But they kicked him out, and they were trying to grab political power. And when they went after that senator, they started to get scared because they realized they had gone too far. I forget
Al Franken.
Yeah, Al Franken. And that's what the feminists,
because he was too liberal for him.
The
he was their
feminists
liberal
were trying to go after him. And when they did that, they realized they had gone too far. And it looks like they're trying to do another power grab because they feel that Joker Joe is vulnerable and Kamala is weak. So the feminists are trying to grab political power again, not understanding that if you bite that hand that feeds you, that hand is going to turn into a fist and it's going to punch you in the face, because white supremacy, the white men, they only are out to protect those white women who support them. But if these women go too far, what they're going to do is pull back like they did back in 2019, where these women were not getting hired. They were not going on dates. These white men practically cut these white women off, and they're headed back down that road again. And they don't understand that if you keep making allegations against white men, they'll cut you off. And what they tried to do that against Joe Biden, that's why you saw all these feminists pulling back, because they feared that if they pushed too far, that they were going to wind up not having a hand to feed them. So they know who feeds them. They know who butters their bread. And I believe they go after, again, your Army Hammer. It's looking like they're trying to go after him, but he looks like a very wealthy man, and they don't really want to mess with that kind of money, because if you bite these hands that feed you, and these men don't feel like they can get due process or protection under the system of white supremacy, what they're going to do is they're going to not go after, it's not going to be pretty. And a lot of these white women are going to feel the pain of that when these guys just cut them completely off and just leave them to go be strong and independent.
Right. I want to ask you to get back to the thing going on with Stop Asian Hate, Shawn. Maybe you need to confirm this to us, because you're up there in New York with Bill de Blasio. He has a task force. Tariq Nasheed stated that they were going to start going into people's homes with regards to these Asian hate crimes. You know, if you leave a nasty message, if you say anything, they're going to actually come to people's houses to check up on that. Can you confirm that?
I haven't heard anything regarding that, and I don't think that would be even legal, because you have to have a search warrant to go out here and do certain things. So if they went out here and did that, they would be violating constitutional law. And because you're caught up in your emotions about Asian hate, we can't violate the Constitution. But when I look at this whole situation, regarding the so-called Asian hate trend, it reminds me a lot of the lynch mobs, and it looks like they're trying to form lynch mobs to go after people regarding this so-called Asian hate. And it's like you're going to extremes that you really should not be going, because, again, a lot of these perpetrators, these are not black people, but they want to use this to go after black people. But again, when we look at the video, it's whites, non-blacks, and Asians. And it looks like they're trying to use this whole campaign, again, as to terrorize black people. But the Asians don't want to confront these white people who are the real perpetrators of this violence.
Yeah. Yeah, it's mostly white people that are perpetrators of this violence. I mean, we are not even the majority. How could we be the face of it? I was going to play. Yeah.
We're only
I was going
13%
to go
of the population, and most blacks don't have interactions with Asians like that. Usually Asians live in separate parts of the city. Like here in New York, they live in Chinatown, and in neighborhoods like I grew up in and lived in, most of them would just go to their stores, their laundromats. They would have minimal interaction with black people. So it's not black people doing this. I mean, a lot of these people, they go to live in white suburbs, and they go to areas that are predominantly white. And again, the video is what tells the truth about many of these assaults. But the media wants to tell a different story and try to gaslight us, hoping that if they tell a lie long enough, we'll believe it as true. But we can look at the evidence in front of us and just see the white faces participating in these assaults. And it's just like nobody wants to acknowledge the truth regarding these situations.
All right. Most definitely. Should I even bother? I don't even have the video up, but I kind of know what Shawn would say and what you would say, Bernard, because you already spoke on Lonnie Love and Young Jeezy's wife and the comments that they made. So I don't want to think I want to go back, but I know what Shawn would say about Lonnie Love, or even the View or the Talk. What's going on, especially with Cheryl Underwood. I want to ask you about that a little bit with regards to Pierce Morgan and what you think of the show, the Talk being suspended as they look into Sharon Osbourne's racism allegations. But before I get into that, let's deal with something else that happened on CBS this past Sunday. Why the Grammys sucked. Now, I did a live stream this past Tuesday on an analysis of why the Grammys suck, but I would like to have my good friends give their take on it. And let me just share with you guys. I know, Shawn, you didn't watch it because you were out editing a book somewhere. Bernard, you probably weren't watching it either, just because I know you're not interested in this stuff. But let me just give you the skinny. The 2020 2021 Grammys made history and turned heads, but it couldn't win the ratings game. This is, of course, according to the New York Post. This was the WAP video that they played on live television. Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. Of course, I have to mute it because the music is going on. But it had a ratings low record. They didn't even have 53% of their previous audience from last time. They failed to meet their target audience, which was the 1849 demographic. It's the lowest it's ever been. Last year, 18.7 million viewers tuned into the event, broadcast from the Staples Center in Los Angeles pre-pandemic January. The numbers were down about 1.2 million from 2019, when the program saw 19.9 million pairs of eyeballs after 2018's particular poor showing. But they say here it only had 7.9 million total views. And they're not expected to do better than 2020's awards. In fact, they said it was, again, a record low, which it was. And I actually talked about this. They had a 51% drop from this. You know, I guess part of it, they had Trevor Noah hosting, and a lot of people don't think he's funny. The awards that I saw, even for the people that won these awards, like I saw Taylor Swift win Album of the Year, which I don't understand how is that possible. Of course, Megan Thee Stallion, she won for Best New Artist, Best New Rap Artist, if I'm not mistaken. That's what she got. Her also won for Song of the Year. These award shows have gone down in quality for years, even the Oscars. I think people, even when they were bored. So this means even when they were bored and they were in a pandemic, nobody was watching the Grammys. But the Oscars have gone down in ratings. When I was growing up, and Sean, Bernard, you guys, I think, remember this, the Soul Train Awards were even more popular. So let me get your take on what you think of the Grammys, why they suck, and why award shows, if you think they suck today.
Well, when it comes down to
Okay.
these, all right, Bernard, you want to go first?
Yeah. We used to watch these shows, but the content of these shows is so, first of all, it's so PC, but then it's more like a crossover. You don't have really hardcore rap, which I used to like to listen to. And, just all the social justice, get woke, go broke, I guess. But, and then, like I said, it just shows that you're gonna see feminism, you're gonna see all types I didn't expect to see. And I'm Gavin, if you got any family members that saw that side shit with Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, they'd be like, "Oh my God, what the fuck was this shit?" Like they couldn't believe it. Well, oh yeah,
Well,
you didn't know who sung that.
My dad looking at it. Yeah, I showed a picture of everybody. My dad was in his wheelchair looking at it, and his mouth was like this the whole time. when he saw WAP, he didn't know what WAP meant, so I just told him short for the Whopper.
Well, I will say this, but the only good thing can say came out the Grammy was the baby picture, and it wasn't because of baby the bigger picture. It's because that Tamia Rice's mother called out Tamika Valerie, my son, and BLM, and Al,
right.
not Al. Well, he did probably
Ben Crump.
throw him in the bus, but it was
Benjamin Crump. Ben Crump and Lee Merritt
for their clout. Yeah. Yes, clout chasing and constant getting donations or black pain and stuff. So the Black Lives Matter thing, the charade is over. It's falling apart, and they better do whatever they can to fix it because it's falling down the cliff.
Yeah, Tamika. Yeah, and they called them out over that because, of course, the baby was doing a performance, and they did a reenactment of the Rayshard Brooks killing. And what happened in Atlanta, how the Wendy's burnt down. They did a complete reenactment of it. But then, as you pointed out, Tamir Rice's mother, she actually called out BLM. Michael Brown's father has also called out BLM and how they've exploited his son over this. This is Samira Rice who has called them out over that. And, nobody can say anything against her because she's the mother of a child part of that movement, supposedly. So, I stand with her 100%. She's right about BLM. They basically are exploiting black men's debts to fund a new agenda that has nothing to do with them. Mike Brown Sr. called them out. So this is Samira Rice, for those who don't know. Remember, Samira Rice even called out Barack Obama because she even said, I don't know how he sleeps at night.
That's
She
right.
called him out, and she called out LeBron James. I remember that. But that's Samira Rice. That's the queen. And she said, it's a state of emergency. It's been a hell of a year. Hell, for 400 years. My people, it's time we stand. It's time we demand the freedom. This is what Tamika Mallory is talking. The speech she gave. It's time we demand the freedom that this land promises. President Biden, we demand justice, equity, policy, and everything else that freedom encompasses. And to accomplish this, we don't need allies. We need accomplices. It's bigger than black and white. This is not a trend. This is our plight until freedom. And then in the aftermath of that, Samira Rice stated the following. She said, we will never have justice because of things like this. I'm tired of she put this on Facebook. This is on Facebook. Hold on. Oh, great. I don't know if you guys can read it there, but I'm gonna zoom in. I'm tired of you Black Lives Matters, Tamika Mallory and crew, bitches that's riding these families. I guess she meant to say families. Riding these families back, and y'all ambulance chasing attorneys, Ben Crump, Lee Merritt, to y'all have fuck up our fight, and y'all can kiss my ass too. Tamika and the crew, you bitches chasing clout along with Sonny, Crump, and Lee. Y'all have literally fucked our fight up. I hope not another family soul use y'all to represent them. Y'all might as well be junior pig cops. I'm mad as hell.
Wow.
So Shawn,
Well, she let it be known that hey, it is what it is. But as I already knew, the bubble gonna bust sooner or later on the BLM grifters. I mean, they were already getting exposed for the election, but full circle
Shawn,
now.
Yeah.
Game over.
Shawn, she brought the heat. She brought the heat, Bernard. She's, and this is a grieving mother too. She did not receive justice from the loss of her son. So
she didn't take
that
Crump
pain.
neither. She didn't let Crump represent her either. She dropped Crump back then too. So.
Yeah. Shawn, what you think?
The Grammys have been garbage for some time. I mean, this is just the American public just walking away from what people call this SJW woke culture that these shows try to perpetrate and promote. And most of these awards, people are looking past them and saying there are more important things than celebrating a celebrity. I mean, we've had this COVID-19 pandemic, and we've had a lot of other issues, and people are just tired of hearing what they consider to be two-bit celebrities trying to tell us how to live and how to be, and then trying to, congratulate themselves. People are just tired of the arrogance and self-aggrandizing of these celebrities. And that's why people are no longer tuning into things like Golden Globes, Grammys, Oscars. I mean, people are now looking at their lives and seeing that there are more important things than paying attention to these two-bit celebrities and their so-called accomplishments. I mean, that's one of the reasons I believe people are tuning out. The other reason is they look at these people's whole politics and they also look at their values and they're just absolutely disgusted. I mean, Computer Robots brought up the point where I talk about the old African proverb, a race can rise no higher than the moral position of its women. And
Yeah.
as the woman goes, so goes the race. And I think a lot of women and men are just turned off by the debauchery and deviancy that many of these celebrities promote. And they're just absolutely disgusted by the values that these celebrities go out here and push. I mean, back in the 80s and the 90s, we didn't really hear too much about these celebrities and their personal lives. We didn't really hear of these people's opinions, but in this age of social media, we hear about all of these celebrities promoting ideas and ideologies that run counter to what the American people want to support. And when they look at these celebrities out here, again, promoting all of this deviancy, debauchery, and hypersexualization, it just turns most of these conservative Americans completely off. I mean, when I look at that whole Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion minstrel show that they put on, that was just absolutely disgusting. I mean, there's no way any family would want to sit there and watch that kind of filth being presented in front of them. Women talking about they are prostitutes, talking about they have this WAP. I mean, this stuff is not something that is family entertainment like when Michael Jackson won for Thriller and he was just singing songs from that classic 1980s album and much of that content. I mean, you felt safe.
That's the Grammys right there.
Yeah. When Michael Jackson won the Grammys in the 80s for Beat It and, you know, Billie Jean, you felt safe. Your whole family could sit down and watch Michael Jackson, and you can't do that with today's Grammys. I mean, I remember, again, when I was a kid and when the Grammys were on, you had Michael Jackson, you had Whitney Houston, even the 1990 one with Vanilla Ice.
Cole.
I mean, you had music that you could share with people. But when you look at today's music, it's not something that you want to sit down and sing along or share with your family. It's not something that you feel safe or comfortable. I mean, you have, like, even in pop songs, you have people using profanity in the songs. You have people out here talking about sex and sexuality. And that's not something a family wants to sit down and celebrate with a celebrity. And that's something that turns those viewers completely off. I mean, if you want to get these ratings up, then your musicians have to go out here and make family-friendly music. They have to go out here and make music that everybody can relate to. But what we're getting from these SJWs and far leftists is perverted sexual deviancy, debauchery, perversion, and pushing narratives that run counter to what the American people want. And when you push narratives that are counter to what the American people want and music that they don't want, then what people do is they tune out. And that's what's happening to the Grammys, the Oscars, the Emmys. You're celebrating media that nobody wants to celebrate. And the viewer has just completely tuned out of the program because they don't see anything in the program that relates to them. I mean, when I look at that whole Grammys, none of that music is anything an older man like myself relates to, or even a younger person relates to. So we don't want to celebrate these musicians because they are just promoting the worst as related to American society. And that's why nobody's watching these shows, because one, they're tired of these rich people going out here preaching to them about how they should live and them living a completely different life. So they're tired of that hypocrisy, one. And two, they're just tired of all the perversion, all of the filth. They're just tired of the garbage. And they're just tired of hearing from these celebrities talk about how great they are while they're struggling and suffering. And people used to, again, aspire to be like these kind of people until they went on social media and showed us who they truly were.
Yes. Well, look, the reason why I put that picture up of Natalie Cole, let me tell you something. I really lost interest in the Grammys when several things happened. Back in 2014, Macklemore beat Kendrick Lamar for Best New Rap Artist. Y'all remember that? And
Yeah,
to the point where Macklemore even texts Kendrick Lamar apologizing for winning that award, saying, I robbed you. And on top of that, you haven't heard from Macklemore since, have you? But
yeah,
Macklemore was getting that push because why? He was pushing that LGBTQ. He
yeah,
had that song that was all on the radio that was promoting it. That was big at the time. I remember when they had those couples get married at the Grammy Awards ceremony. So remember that?
yeah,
So they were pushing that. Then on top of that, the other thing I didn't like is when Maurice White and Natalie Cole died. They died around the same time. The Grammys did not even honor properly Maurice White, nor did they honor Natalie Cole. And
yeah,
Maurice White, who is the founder of, he was not only the founder of Earth, Wind, and Fire, but he was a legendary producer as well. He produced songs for countless artists like Barbra Streisand. He worked on her music. He did work with the Emotions. He did all types of stuff. He was a multi instrumentalist. He worked with
yeah,
Stevie Wonder. Even Stevie Wonder's "I Wish" is based off of a Earth, Wind, and Fire song. He borrowed off of their riff in "Get You in My Life," and some things you can hear. The intro is very similar, but that was true talent. And I remember Stevie actually gave a personal tribute to him with Pentatonics when he brought them out and they did the song a cappella as a tribute. But Eric Benet called out the Grammys for that. Keep in mind also, especially when we talk about music, in 2013, there was no black artist that was number one on the Billboard Hot 100. Not one. Not the top, not the top seed. The first time in 50 something years. The number one song was what in 2013? Blurred Lines.
That's
Blurred
right.
Lines.
yeah,
Blurred Lines was made by who? Robin Thicke. Robin Thicke, Pharrell, and T.I., which of course they had to go to court over because Marvin Gaye's family sued saying that he copied off of Got to Give It Up. And Robin Thicke, by his own admission, even said he wanted to make a song like that, similar to that. And I think that's what caught him. Although the song in of itself, the melody is a little bit different, but the groove is the same. But he kind of told on himself in the deposition that I was trying to make a song like that. So, and Smokey Robinson even called him out for it. But that the music industry, and I do music myself. I got stuff that's gonna be released soon. But it's a very dirty industry. Like I had Al Lanier come on. He said it was better run when the mafia controlled it than what it is now. Like you have the casinos in the mafia who runs when the mafia was running Las Vegas and the casinos then they were better than what the music industry was doing today.
yeah. Music industry is a mess right now. It's just pure garbage at this point. I mean, they're not about merit. They're not about talent. They're not about creativity. They are just about agendas and hookups, and it's just a complete disaster. And it's like there's no art to this music anymore. I looked at how many of these entertainers they picked. It's like these are people nobody's going to care about. I mean, if you look at the '80s, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Lionel Richie, these were all icons. And 30 years later, their music is still being played. And if you ask about the Grammy winners of the last, I say about 10, 15 years, you don't hear their music being played in light music stations. You don't hear it being played in supermarkets. What I hear is music from the 80s, music from the 70s, even music from the 90s. I don't really hear much 2000s music. I don't hear much 2010s music. So that really tells us about how little value the Grammy has because the music is not resonating and it's not really carrying. And these people are winning awards, but what are they winning awards for? Because nobody's listening to their music and nobody is people when they go back to listen to music. Some of them are going back 30, 40 years now because, and even 50 years, because they can't find any quality music with a message anymore.
Yeah. Well,
Hey,
what's up, Black Mama? Thank you for the blessings.
can
She
we say
said, hold on a second, Bernard. Let me just get this. Let me salute Black Mama. Thank you for your contribution. Smokey Robinson made me mad when he pumped up J-Lo and her Motown performance. That was a hot mess. Yeah. I mean, J-Lo is on her, what, 8th husband
thank you,
or would-be husband? Well, he did that song with Charlie Wilson that was pretty good. But I mean, Bruno Mars, who's not black, but he makes great music, obviously coming from black people. He's got Silk Sonic out, that song that's shooting up. Let me ask you this. If Bruno Mars were black, do you think he would have the success that he has? Like,
I don't think he would, because I don't think they would promote him like they would.
what about you, Bernard?
Bruno Mars?
Yeah.
You want Bruno Mars?
Yeah. Do you think,
I thought
like
he's
his
in the
column?
category I thought he's in the category of richer these days.
He's an example of
But
what?
now, biracial.
Bruno Mars, though, no, he's not biracial. Bruno Mars is from Hawaii. I believe he's got Hispanic and Hawaiian heritage. And a lot of people, when he
Okay.
came out, thought he was doing racial ambiguity. But Bruno Mars is I mean, he's been doing music since he was a little kid. He was on Arsenio Hall show when he was little. Yeah.
I don't know why they put him in the hip hop category sometimes, but you're right. If he was black, they wouldn't be on him like that. But Shawn, to your comment about the Grammys, it's not about these days how good you are. It's how woke you are.
Yeah,
That's what
true.
it is. But how woke and diverse you can be, that's what gets you the awards.
Yeah. He's Filipino. Butterfly says he's Filipino.
I thought maybe something like that. Okay.
Oh yeah, his father is half Puerto Rican and half Ashkenazi Jewish, and his dad was originally from Brooklyn, New York. His mother is from the Philippines, and she moved to Hawaii, and she was of Spanish and Filipina ancestry. So, but I mean, his whole family has been in music. I mean, he's been endowed with that.
Yep, he has been.
Yeah, but I mean, he was on Arsenio Hall show. He was on, and he made cameos in movies as a kid, like Honeymoon in Vegas. So, I think, and I remember when checked all the boxes. Yeah, like Richard Pryor said, "Get him, he's all of them." No, but I think he's talented and stuff. But and I like his music. I mean, look, Bruno Mars. I went to Las Vegas back in 2018 for New Year's, and he put on a show. Boys to Men was the opening act for him, though, at that time. And dude put on a show. I can't lie. But yeah, he loves black music. But I mean, look, black music built it all. Think of the black artists who, like I talk about Sam Cooke and Jackie Wilson, those guys got screwed out of royalties big. Chuck Berry, Little Richard. I always say Sam Cooke was murdered because he was trying to break away from his manager and actually have his own publishing, and it was going to be bigger than Motown. He actually was hiring and bringing in new artists. He was doing songs with Muhammad Ali. He was giving money to Malcolm X. So I don't know if Bruno Mars would get I don't know if Bruno Mars was a black man, would he be as successful? Probably not. I think he would be successful, and I guess it determines on what you measure as success. Is success meaning you sell, 100 million albums worldwide in just 5 years or 10 years, and you're still in your early 30s, and your life is ahead of you. You can do whatever you want. Or if I'm making enough to get by and I can live a little comfortably. I guess it depends on what you think. But Shawn, you don't think he would be.
No, I don't think he would be, because they wouldn't push him like that, because they want to try to erase us from music. If you look at what happens with Justin Timberlake and many others, they want to take black out of black music. They want our sound, but they don't want to have black people up front, because the whole idea of seeing that black man or that black woman up there, that makes a lot of people in Hollywood uncomfortable. They want the faces to be white or non-black. So if Bruno Mars was a black man, they definitely probably wouldn't have pushed him as hard as they would, and they wouldn't have promoted him as hard as they would, because they want our sound, but they just don't want us.
Most definitely. That's a good point. That's a
Culture.
damn good point. Cultural appropriation.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, last topic, gentlemen, I want to talk about, since I said CBS and CBS hosts the Grammys, of course. The show, The Talk, is on hiatus. Now, I could care less if it's on hiatus because I didn't watch it, but if anything to keep these old bags of gas off the air who just spout stupidity is, if they're off, whether it's The Talk, The View, The Real, whatever it is, all of the stuff with the it needs to go anyway, right? So, uh, show has gone on hiatus with allegations of racism from Sharon Osbourne. Uh, people accusing Sharon Osbourne of this. Of course, Holly Robinson Peete said something very interesting, that when she was on The Talk, uh, she actually called her ghetto. Several other people have said she used racial slurs, like Julie Chen called her egg roll or something along those lines. And Cheryl Underwood, of course, she says what she said about Sharon Osbourne's dispute. Steve Harvey Morning Show to talk about it, and the only thing Steve Harvey really did, and what he does in his whole time, I'm not going to play that, but he basically says how you handle it with grace, and called her Karen. He called her Karen Osbourne, but Steve Harvey and those guys never talk about racism or go at white supremacy like talking about it. But of course, you guys know the argument with Sharon Osbourne and Cheryl Underwood got heated over the issue of Piers Morgan and his comments about Meghan Markle. And the show is now on hiatus. The show is out on hiatus, and they're doing an investigation. So I wanted to ask, and I'll start with Bernard, what you think about it.
What, you talking about the
Why did-
talk with Sharon
Yeah,
Osbourne and them?
yeah,
I look at it as, sure, I know you got your feelings hurt, but at the end of the day, also part of cancel culture. So, I mean, what Sharon Osbourne said 25 years ago be like a little bit debate between Frances Cress Welsing, who obviously was the birthday of Frances Cress Welsing today. Looks usually like a nice little table debate, but today, hey, these table debates and stuff that you used to have and used to bring people on the Donahue show, Khalid Muhammad, Farrakhan, so forth and so on. You can't have these debates anymore. It's like I said, it's woke social justice. So I mean, she to me looked like a little spat. Some you saw on Oprah, but hey, it is if it's council. You just gotta know what time you're living in. I mean, they're trying to counsel everybody right now. That's why I'm glad your platform. me, Shawn, anybody else, Valerie, you know, because they're trying to cancel you out of history right now. Cancel
Oh yeah.
culture actually leads to also genocide too in other places later along the line, depending on how it goes. Because you can't let it go too far. Because one group is going to get mad, the other group, they're getting canceled, and they're not going to stand for it anymore. So we'll lead to a culture war and a race war if you keep on proliferating the nonsense.
Yeah. Well, what happened with Sharon Osbourne is just par for the course with this ongoing cancel culture. I mean, people knew this woman was a racist for years, and now they just want to cancel her because it's the in thing to do. It's just like Anna Wintour and the Vogue. This culture has been a part of this whole media institution for many years. So this is just them trying to, again, virtue signal by saying, oh, we're going to take this show off, put it on quote unquote hiatus for a while in order to deal with the so-called issue. But the same racism goes on behind the scenes and has been going on behind the scenes since the start of the entertainment industry. Now, I have no love for this show, The Talk, because it's another one of these man-bashing, misandrous programs. But what's happening now is what we're seeing is these SJWs eating their own, and they don't understand that the more they keep going out here eating their own, eventually they're going to implode, and they're going to show us all what hypocrites they are, because they all talk about this racism, but they all participate in the same behavior. They'll cancel one for one thing, but then they go out here and do the same thing themselves. It's like what Jesus said, they strain at a gnat but swallow a camel. And that's what cancel culture really is. It's like modern day Pharisees out here. They try to make it like they're these so-called good people, but they are like sepulchres. They're just filled with dead men's bones. And they're sitting there talking about, oh, these two are racist. But again, the whole culture that's in these institutions is racist. I mean, Sharon Osbourne is just a symptom of the overall Hollywood culture. And just taking one show off, even if they cancel this show, The Talk, they're going to make another show with the exact same culture and exact same narratives and exact same voices to push the same agenda.
He called her, excuse me, the slur supposedly is called wonton and slant eyes. And of course, Leah Remini, she was on The King of Queens, and she was Zach Morris's love interest on Saved by the Bell at once when they were all working at that beach house on that show on Saved by the Bell. Yeah, she actually reported that and said that happened. But I mean, what is Sharon Osbourne known for? Where is Sharon Osbourne known for anyway, other than being the wife of Ozzy Osbourne, a fool that bit a bat's head on stage? That's all he's known for. And her daughter, let's not forget, when her daughter was on The View, and she said something racist about Mexicans while going at it with Donald Trump, saying, like, if you remember the quote she said when she stated, you know, if you got rid of all the Hispanics in this country, who would clean our restrooms? When I heard that, I laughed. I was like, that defeats the purpose.
So if she's saying stuff like that, we already knew what she was on.
Well, we know who raised her.
I mean, CBS knew what they were hiring, but then they want to try to virtue signal by saying,
I'm talking about Kelly Osbourne.
I know the mother taught her that. So the mother taught her that. So they knew what they were hiring. They knew who they were hiring.
Yeah, let's see the video right quick. This is, of course, courtesy of People. I don't own the rights to this, but I want to go ahead. I know you can't hear it yet. Let me hold on a second. Let me stop.
To describe Sarah Gilbert, who is openly gay. A new report claims Sharon Osbourne has a long history of racist language and bullying. Journalist Yashar Ali says he spoke to multiple sources, including former talk co-host Leah Remini, who told him Sharon used racial slurs when talking about co-host Julie Chen. And she used homophobic language to describe Sarah Gilbert, who is openly gay. And Holly Robinson Pete, who was on the show for one season, claimed Sharon was responsible for her departure, tweeting, "I'm old enough to remember when Sharon complained that I was too ghetto for the talk. Then I was gone."
Oh.
They pay him for his opinion.
The new report comes exactly 1 week after Sharon defended her friend Piers Morgan.
I'm sorry, I don't believe a word she said.
Well, that's
He accused Meghan of lying about her mental health crisis and her experience of racism in the royal family.
educate me. Tell me when you have heard say righteous things.
The fact that you don't even want to take into consideration that her desire to want to end her own life is connected to her race. That dismissal makes it a racist situation. I don't want anybody here to watch this and say that we're attacking you for being racist, and for that, if I articulated,
I think it's
anything,
too late. I think that seed's already sown. Don't try and cry, because if anyone should be crying, it should be me.
Sharon, who says she was blindsided by the discussion,
Sharon
told
Osbourne.
another CBS show, Entertainment Tonight, that she regrets how the conversation spun out of control.
I love Cheryl. I've apologized to Cheryl. She's not gotten back. And I can understand Cheryl needs her time.
Do you understand how people could look at it and say, you telling her not to cry could look like you are attacking Cheryl?
I was having a go at my friend. I should never have dismissed her feelings on national TV. Ever. But I said it. I have to own it.
Sharon blames CBS and cancel culture.
You can just call this hashtag hot mess.
I can understand to some degree how she came to the defense of a friend. These other comments that have come out subsequently are more concerning.
Sharon, the only original co-host on The Talk, is denying all the allegations about using racist and homophobic language. But in her statement to the Daily Mail, she repeated the slurs, saying, "It's a pile-on. People want to add fuel to the fire, and it comes with the territory, and that's fine." Her publicist is also responding to the claim, saying in part, "The only thing worse than a disgruntled former employee is a show host. Sharon is disappointed but unfazed and hardly surprised by the lies. She will survive this."
Well, hey, if she can, well, hey, if the editor of Teen Vogue says that it's okay to pile on even if a woman is lying about sexual assault, pile the rest of it on, because I want the talk canceled. I'm tired of these windbags. I like the show anyway.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a one-man team here, Black Mama. I hadn't thought of that. It's not my thing. But DJ B-Side said now Sharon Osbourne is even stealing from Marion Barry. She said about the women on the talk. It set me up. Yeah. Okay. So we guys, I think we've all talked about it. But yeah, man, it's a hot mess over there.
I just love it when SJWs eat their own.
Yeah. And let's not forget that The Talk, those shows like The Talk and Sharon Osbourne, they were going after Bill Cosby. Julie Chen in particular. She had to eat her words because her husband, Molester Moonves, was feeling up all on the interns at CBS. Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
So I like it. Bring it on, baby. Let the mess begin. Y'all got anything to add?
Not much to add here. I mean, this is basically SJWs eating their own, leftists doing what leftists do. Whenever they go out here, they can't go after anybody else. They can't go out here and Trump bash anymore, and they can't make any Black Fruits of the Month anymore. So they go after each other, and now they're just trying to cancel each other. And maybe, hopefully, these woke types will eventually implode Hollywood, and that'll be better for everybody. I mean, these people, they just sit there and they talk this good game, but they're the same type of racist that they're making allegations against.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm glad you said that. Thank you. That is 100% true. I ain't got nothing to say about that, Shawn. You are 100% right. And I'm gonna leave you goddamn on. Keep on doing it, goddamn it.
Before we end the show and get out of here, there's something I did want to mention and bring up. Did y'all see this poster? I'm trying to find it. I think shout out to
Yeah. Hey, do it again.
Looks like we have a connection problem.
All right, I'm back. I'm sorry. Y'all hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Yeah, they messed with the live stream. No, it's not aliens. It's just this slow computer I've got. No, but I was saying, did y'all see this? Even after this thing that was going on with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, like when we talk about man bashing and these women that want these zaddies, I saw Vivica Fox call Prince Harry an honorary black because he defended Meghan Markle. And then today, Beyonce had a picture up of all of these black women, like Angela Rye and Oprah Winfrey and Gayle King. Did you see that?
Yeah, I've seen this Vivica Fox comedy.
I ain't seen it. Let me see it. I might have to look at it.
I mean, basically, she's a mammy tap dancing, deifying this white man and embarrassing herself. And
Vivica Fox?
Yeah, talking about Prince Harry's an honorary light-skinned black man when your Prince Harry is part of the first family of white supremacy, and she's sitting here bootlicking, giving this man this so-called honor, and showing us how little respect she has for being black. I mean, your Prince Harry is not anybody who was out here to help Meghan Markle. He didn't even care about Meghan Markle, because if he cared about her, he wouldn't have put her in harm's way with this white supremacist family. So I'm looking at this, and it's sad to see black people tap dancing like this, but it shows us who our real enemies are, and it's just embarrassing to see Vivica Fox act like a clown like this.
Well, she looks like a clown with all that damn makeup she got on. Let me see if I can put. I'm doing it from my phone right now, so I can't share the screen. And of course, if I share the screen with y'all, it'll probably black out again. So, but Vivica Fox. Let's not forget too. She came at Ice Cube, her and Lisa Ray, with regards to his plan for Black America. But they're going to defend Prince Harry. When Prince Harry, after all this is said and done, he's going to go back to the royal family.
Yeah, he's going to be headed back because he cannot stand not having white supremacy's goodies, givebacks, and giveaways provided for him. So he's going to go back. He's going to get rid of the Duchess of Ratchetness because he can't afford to lose those privileges he's received over the years with white supremacy.
Yeah.
What you call it? Duchess of Ratchetness.
What?
Yeah, he calls her the Duchess of Ratchetness. He does but he does a British accent with it. It's even better.
Yeah, I call her the Duchess of Ratchetness because she had a ratchet scheme to become a part of the first family of white supremacy. She never claimed black. She never wanted anything to do with black people. And now that she cannot get any of the goodies, givebacks, and giveaways that white supremacy was going to give her if she married Prince Harry, now she wants to talk about racism and being black. But we all know she's completely full of it because we know that she
She
never
also
wanted anything to
wants
do
to
with
run.
black people.
She what?
Also wants to run. She wants to run for president. So I'm here.
She needs to sit herself down because she would get no votes except that maybe of maybe her dad or maybe her mom because nobody would want to elect her for any sort of office, knowing that she practically went out here and monkey branched over to the first family of white supremacy. There's nobody who's going to vote for her outside of the swirling community, and that's probably it.
Well, her dad would vote for her sister because they don't get along. And her dad, he looks like he was tossed away in the streets
Yeah.
years ago.
Well, white supremacy got rid of him because he married he had the black woman, so that's why they got rid of him because they have unwritten rules.
Yeah, that's Vivica A. Fox now. Ugh. It was better in her lighter days. Yeah, but it's better when Shawn does it with the accent when he calls her the Duchess of Ratchetness. Bernard, you've seen it before. You'll make it Marshall.
The Duchess of Ratchetness with her raggedy self.
I think she represents black girl magic, truly, Shawn, because everything that Prince Harry had disappeared.
Yep, that black girl magic going tragic as per usual.
Right up there, oh rumpus. What's up, Northern Belle? What's up? Yeah, she looked better before the plastic surgery. I guess I don't know what 50 had, but she ain't never been the same since they broke up.
You right about that.
They never been the same. I think I go fancy some porter. No, I think I'll have some crackers and tea after this. So, yeah, man. But that poster, I was trying to see if I could find it, but that poster of Beyonce that Beyonce put up on Twitter with black women, and then somebody else showed me something about masculinity, a talk that Essence was going to have about masculinity and black masculinity. And right in the top corner, I don't know who it was, but it was a transgender that was in the top right corner of it.
Wow.
People talking about masculinity who have no business talking about it. How do you know about masculinity if you're a transgender? I mean, stay in your lane. Let people who know about black masculinity, black men, speak for themselves. That's all I got to say on that.
Yeah. What do you think, Bernard?
Plantation of memories, but it's interesting.
TLC?
Slightly.
Yeah.
Is that Tay Diggs?
That's okay. This is a conversation. Well, look who it's about. It's about Lee Daniels.
Oh.
And Jeff Johnson is hosting it. And it's got the cast of the movie The United States versus Billie Holiday. And Devontae Rhodes, this guy's name is Miss Lawrence. Tone Bell, Tyler James Williams from Everybody Hates Chris, and Rob Morgan. and it was this past Wednesday. I'm glad I missed it.
It shows a bunch of betas and a bunch of wimps to represent black masculinity.
Oh man. Oh wow. That's
Some
crazy,
punks.
Yeah.
Wow.
How do you have a discussion on black masculinity with a bunch of betas and punks? You can't have no discussion on black masculinity unless you're talking to real men. I mean, they talking to a bunch of clowns who just going to parrot back what the women want to hear.
Right. No men who are afraid to speak the truth, and one who doesn't want to be a man.
And then they do this. They just want to hear what they want to hear. They just want to hear all this soft, emasculated stuff. But that's why we got a man crisis right now, because the women don't want to hear what a man has to say, and they don't want a man to take charge in his own community and take care of business.
Right. Sort of like John Haynes taking care of business, which you have the John Haynes series coming out on the new episode, the new book that's going to drop on
the new book is coming out this Saturday, March 20th. It'll be ready to drop on Kindle, so you can put in your pre-orders right now. But you can get the paperback right now by putting in your order. And that book has a positive image of black manhood and black masculinity, just like the entire John Haynes series and the book that started it all, The Temptation of John Haynes. You can find that on Amazon.com, all those books in paperback and Kindle format right now.
All right, you guys do that. Support brother Shawn James and buy the new John Haynes book that's out. Will be out on Saturday. And Bernard, this is his Cash App. Also, he's got his website, kingbjjohnson.com. Is it?
It's kingbj.com, but yeah, that's it. Yes, cool. Yeah, you good.
All right, that's his cash.
About to do some more website updates on there tonight. I'm gonna put this video in the blog, and man, keep on pushing, man.
That's a committee. No, that's a committee of
subscribers are doing it good.
That's a committee of Vaseline. Committee of KY.
Softer than ice cream.
Hey, Shawn, let this post the SJWs blow that smell to smithereens.
Yeah.
Pow!
I just say step aside and let them self-destruct.
They do it.
Yeah, Million Moist Match. Yeah, that may happen one day, the Million Moist March.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I must say, it is a pleasure to see all of these moist fools, all of these moist people out here today. Because the moisture brings coolness, and the moisture brings softness. And the moisture must be filled. I can't go no further. Must be filled today from the hands of the straight man. The straight man must pay for what he has done to the moist man. Let me stop. That's corny. That's my best Farrakhan. I don't want to disrespect the minister, but yeah. All right. Well, guys, if you got anything, last things you want to say, we'll wrap it up.
I just want to say it's great that we was able to do this again. Shawn, always a pleasure. Gavin, you doing what you're doing. Like I said, let the social justice woke. They don't. I hope the Utah Senate doesn't bow down and have the All-Star game, because the players want to.
Well, what's going on?
Is what
with
they
that?
call you know the bathroom bill? They're saying that Utah, they want to have an All-Star game in Utah, but they might not have it if the training boys can't get their way and use the bathrooms and stuff. So they're trying to make it so they can make an exemption for all. It's kind of like the North Carolina thing with the bathroom bill happened in 2017 when they moved the game. But Utah, that's they're probably gonna have a little bit more problem, but we're gonna see. It'll be very interesting. As you well know, I sent you an article last night of Gabrielle Lutwood, who already transgender played back then in 2012, I think. So anything that hurt these SJWs is fine with me. Wouldn't you agree? You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Rose. It wasn't me.
Yeah. So if they say, hey, look, we're not gonna bow down, we're gonna have an All-Star game, but you can't use the bathroom, it is. But then again, the NBA will say, well, if we can't use the bathroom, then we'll move the game. So here's what it is.
All right.
Make them
Shawn,
hurt.
yeah. Well, they did that when North Carolina back in 2015. They had the All-Star game for the NBA, and there was a bathroom bill that was passed, and they moved it from North Carolina to New Orleans. Because New Orleans is a little more liberal and open down here, and at that time, of course, there was pushed by the president. The president was, of course, Barack Obama. Now, you didn't see all of that in the last 4 years because Trump was really not pushing transgender issues. But definitely now with Biden, that's his top priority. So, Farside asks, what city is it? Was that in Salt Lake City where it was going to be?
Utah.
Yeah, Utah.
Yeah, Salt Lake City, Utah.
Yeah, that would make sense because that's where the Jazz play.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not
Do they go to sporting events?
Yeah.
Good question.
Ace Thunder, that's not WAP. That's WOB. Wet ass bussy.
Oh, that's funny, man. Richmond, Virginia, brother.
I charge the straight man. We're taking everything away from the moist man. I charge the straight man for not giving us discounts on Vaseline products. I charge for messing up everything that we have accomplished. I charge the straight man with getting rid of our disco clubs. I charge the straight man with banning YMCA. Yeah, the million moist march. Shawn can just imagine it.
Just a complete mess.
Yeah. All right. Well, if that's not it, if you guys don't have anything to add, and I see people in the comment sections who are telling their jokes, I got them started. DJ B-Side, Ace Thunder, Butterfly 70. Shout out to you. Shout out to Computer Robots. Computer Robots even said that Biden's press secretary confirmed he didn't say or call Kamala Harris president. But I read, it's on Fox News now. Of course, Fox is not always the best truth-telling network, but it wouldn't surprise me if Biden did say that because I know he usually says stuff and he's been having fraudulent slips lately.
Yep, we're seeing the implosion of the left as we speak. I mean, Joker Joe is like the last breath, and Kamala Harris would be a complete disaster. So all the people to do is just step aside and watch the SJWs eat their own and watch all of these leftists practically self-destruct.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what they say, man?
Yeah.
A Marxist and the communist ideology cannot stand because they hate their own self. They hate who they are and they hate who they want to be.
Yep.
Most
So it is
definitely.
what it is.
Well, guys, if you don't have anything else to add, I first and foremost appreciate everything that you've done, that you've come on this platform. I thank you, Shawn James. I thank you, Bernard. Shout out to you and all. And I need everybody to please hit the Cash App for me at the ticker at the bottom. Black Mama, I know you've already done it, but anyone else, please hit the Cash App, Gavin Richard Esquire. I appreciate the love and support. We got to continue to make these happen because these brothers always show me love by coming onto my channel and platform. I saw Black Mama said that her ex's sister-in-law is the producer of the talk. Well, get in touch with me because I can use a producer. We can produce from here.
Yeah.
And make good things done.
Because the talk probably, she may not have, not trying to, I don't wish anything bad on people. When I say the shows could get can't, it needs to go. There are people who work behind those scenes that have families and so forth. So I can see how that's a bad thing for them. So I don't want to wish that, but no, I can't stand the show. I'm sorry. Oh, Black Mama, that's a no-go. Black Mama says she don't get along with her. So okay. She's also heading Biden's science team. Oh no, then that's not gonna happen. Then she wouldn't like me. I'm sure Shawn wouldn't like her. Or Bernard. Shawn of a critical exam. Now, when I take a critical examination of this sister-in-law, or this ex that Black Mama sister-in-law has, I think she is typical of the SJS directive and the SJWs that are out here who are destroying masculinity and who are destroying even femininity as it relates to the media. Can't think of any way to imitate you, Shawn. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, brothers. Thank y'all for tuning in to channel Gboot 2786. Wherever you are, I hope you are blessed and doing safe. Shawn, thank you. And Bernard, thank you again. And you're always welcome to come back. And let's push some sales for Shawn, guys. Buy the new John Haynes series coming out this Saturday.
All right. Well, thank you for having me.
All right, Shawn, man. Take your time, brothers.
Yeah. Right. All right. Bye. Good night, guys. Good
night.
night.
You too.